Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, September 1st, 2016. Significant fire potential impacts are expected across much of the Great Basin for the next few days before we'll see some cooler temperatures and overall decreasing fire potential late in the weekend and into the first part of next week. The main impacts for today are wind across much of Nevada, Idaho, and western Utah, along with some isolated mix of wet and dry thunderstorms over northern Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming. The winds will continue across eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and portions of eastern Nevada and western Utah into Friday and possibly even Saturday as well. A band of very light showers and thunderstorms move through southern Idaho and across portions of central Nevada, and there's some current thunderstorm activity over southwest Utah and central portions of the state this morning. ERCs remain well above normal for the time of year, with many stations reported above the 97th percentile. After today, these values will likely begin to decrease as cooler temperatures and some higher relative humidities will move into portions of the northern area. This morning's water vapor imagery shows that band of showers having moved through central Idaho. It's kind of hanging around again this morning and will contribute to some of the chances for some showers and thunderstorms over eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and northern Utah. The other main feature to watch is this center of low pressure off of the Canadian coast here that will continue to dominate the weather pattern through the weekend, sending a series of short waves across the northern portions of the Great Basin, which will bring a chance of some showers to the mountains and cooler temperatures to much of the region. But for today, we're experiencing prefrontal weather conditions with gusty southwest winds and low relative humidities over much of the western half of the Great Basin. Moisture is in place, however, over Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming for the chance for some isolated mix of wet and dry showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. This particular weather pattern will lead to a very widespread critical fire weather day. Looking more closely at the wind gusts, this image shows where we're expecting the highest gusts across western Nevada, portions of eastern and central Nevada, and then also up into western Utah today, as well as the mountains of eastern and east central Idaho. Isolated thunderstorms will generally remain over Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming this afternoon. The chance for some wetter type thunderstorms will occur over the Arizona Strip. This orange blob over Nevada represents blowing dust. Gusty winds will continue on Friday, mainly over eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and northern Utah, as the cold front sweeps through the northern half of the area. This front will bring some cooler temperatures to the north and a slight chance for some showers, mainly over the northern half of the Idaho mountains. Winds will die down a bit over Nevada, with the stronger gusts occurring over eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Temperatures will drop to below normal, especially across the central Idaho mountains. On Saturday, the main low pressure trough moves into the Pacific Northwest, which will spread cooler temperatures throughout the Great Basin. Ahead of that cold front, gusty winds are still possible over central and southern portions of the Great Basin. High temperatures will remain in the low 70s across the north, with highs in the 80s further south. The 3-day precipitation accumulation is shown here, with some precipitation possible over Idaho as a series of cold fronts move through the north. The best chance looks to be over western Wyoming and the panhandle of Idaho, where the northern fringe of the Great Basin could see some of that precipitation, as well as along the frontal boundary as it moves through south-central Idaho and portions of northern Nevada. And of course, showers are possible with any of the thunderstorms that develop over central and eastern Utah and the Arizona Strip, mainly today, but continuing somewhat into tomorrow. On Sunday, the main low tracks across the northern Rockies, reinforcing cooler air across the Great Basin, and possibly allowing some showers to develop mainly along the northern periphery of the Great Basin. Continued cooler weather will take us into the first part of next week, with the overall fire potential beginning to decrease somewhat across the north. General troughiness remains in place across the north for Tuesday and even into Wednesday as some drier westerly flow returns to central portions of the Great Basin. Overall, we're seeing a bit of a transition from the very hot and dry conditions of late August into a more fall-like pattern as we get into the first part of September. 7-day accumulations are shown here. Nevada remains dry for the most part through the period, as well as western Utah. And it's really just the northern mountains of Idaho and also western Wyoming that will see the best chance for some measurable precipitation. The biggest overall impact from this weather pattern is going to be a decrease in temperatures. Looking ahead to the second week of September, more cool temperatures are expected over most of the area, with a continued dry signal for much of Utah and Nevada, really just possibly seeing some increased precipitation over the northern Idaho and western Wyoming mountains. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.